Hey guys! Welcome back to my channel! And today we are doing a Valentine themed eye makeup look, I would say. And also I would like to sit down and talk with you guys about some things that I wish people told me when I was 18. Like things about the mid-20s that I wish I had realized when I was 18, when I was still young and innocent. For this Valentine's holiday themed makeup look, my color story will be red. Yes, I know, it's basic. But the point of this video is not about the eye look per se, it's more about what I have to say to you guys. So grab your makeup kit, grab your sponge, grab your beauty blender, grab your snack, whatever, grab your powders, your eyeshadow palettes, and let's get started. Alright, I've done my brows off camera, and yes, before you say it, I am wearing a scarf on my head because I don't want to use a regular hair tie because it's gonna mess up my hair. Anyways, to start off with our usual routine, I will be using the Baby Skin Primer from Maybelline. Affordable, it works, and girl, I love this. So for those of you who maybe, hopefully, were wondering where I've been because I haven't been uploading that much, well, we just had a lunar calendar festival here. So basically it's like Lunar New Year, and I was just at home, chilling, not stressing myself out about uploading, hanging out with my friends, both my Vietnamese friends and my Western friends. And yeah, I've just been at home with my boyfriend, playing good video games. To be honest, I didn't want to stress myself out about having to record. Before I continue, if y'all are wondering why I'm not looking at the camera, because I'm looking at myself in the mirror here. Anyways, as I was saying, I didn't want to stress myself out about uploading and thinking of content because like I wanted some time off, and I know that it may not be the best move in terms of self-promoting my own brand, not my own brand, like my channel, but at the end of the day, to me, I feel like mental health is really important. The thing about me is that I don't want to produce a half-ass video where I just do it just for the sake of doing it instead of producing a good content for you guys. Do you know what I mean? The primers are done. Now moving on, as usual, before I do any eye look on this channel, I'd like to prep my eyes with a white base. I'll be going in with the Jawbreaker palette, and I will be using the shade Version. As you can see that I'm hitting pan on this shade, and I will coat my eye to act like a base. Also, a good thing about this is that you can use this white shade as some sort of to define the eye shape that you're going for, so that the color goes on nicely and it stays exactly the shape that you are going for. For my next shade, I will be using the Morphe X Jeffree Star collaboration brush. This is the JS5, and I will be dipping into this pink shade right here. I know I said that the color scheme for this look will be mostly red, but I would like to use bubblegum as a softer shade so I can blend out the red later. So what I would do is that I would put it right on my lid, my crease line right here, onto the topic of this week video. I am pre-recording this, so by the time this video is up, it would be around Valentine's. Like I said before, I wanted to talk about some things that I wish people had told me when I was 18 about the whole ordeal of your 20s, whether it is early, mid, or late 20s, where at that point I had how do I say this? I was fed an idea that by your 20s you're supposed to figure out everything you needed to do in your life, like in terms of career, love life, marriage life, whatever it may be. But now at the age of 25, I could say that I am halfway there, and I realized that some things are really necessarily the way it seems. Like, and you have to sometimes take a step back and realize, oh, I am not figuring things out yet, and that's okay. Before we get into that, for the next shade, I'll be using the buffer brush, I guess, for Morphe. It looks like this, and I will be dipping into licorice, a dark, not a dark, like a matte red shade right here, and I will pack it all over the eye. So what I'm doing is I'm actually taking licorice and blending up with the bubblegum shade just a little bit. So the bubblegum will give a more blended out look to the color. Anyway, the first point that I would like to talk about is, actually, let me get my note, because even though I said that I don't prepare for my videos, but I would like to be very thorough with these videos, so just give me a second. I guess so the first thing that people kind of expected you to figure out by your 20s is that you have to have a stable career, you have to have a 9 to 5 job with a steady income at that point. And I will tell you right now that it is bullshit. Because, sorry for the strong language, but I feel like that is just BS. You know, because I feel like a lot of people, well, first of all, by your 20s, you just finished college. Like, you just graduated. You barely had any, or at least in my case, I barely had any personal experience or job-related experience required to do the job that is related to my, I guess, degree, even though I never really finished college. But I majored in Spanish, but I barely had any experience or exposure to the scene. I honestly did not know what to do because, like, sure, I work a job here and there, but honestly, most of the time I worked as like a part-time job, being a waiter, being like a coffee bartender, and like some voluntary work stuff for the embassy, but that's pretty much about it. Before I continue, let me move on to a different brush. This is the Morphe flat brush. It looks like this, and I would dip into licorice and pack it on even more. So yeah, as I'm saying, like, I just barely graduated college. I didn't have any experience whatsoever, and the job market out there are asking a lot out of their applicants. Like they expected you to be young and ready to work, but at the same time they require you to have like a 5 years experience, which is like, how am I supposed to have 5 years experience when I spent 4 years in college? Like, I get there's like voluntary activities where you can participate in school, sure, but you can never ever be fully prepared for an actual job related experience when it comes to your major. Like, I'm sure you can do some events here and there. Sure, that's great and all, but is it actually really related to the job that you're looking for? But also, there's always two sides of everything. Is that some applicants are out there pandering. I read a lot of stories where, like, obviously applicants are demanded some absurd qualities to join a company, but at the same time, there are also these stuck up applicants that are just generally being, I would say, cocky and arrogant. Like, just because they graduated from a very fancy, high up, top school of the state or the city or whatever, they automatically think that they have get out of jail card, but for getting into a good company, if that makes sense. Like, they just think that because they graduated from that school with no experience whatsoever, that they can get the job that they like. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works at all. And I get that, well, I'm rambling on. Obviously, I get that companies have unrealistic expectation of you, but at the same time, you have to also be realistic and realize that a degree is not everything. Like, it's not gonna get you anywhere if you don't have any social skills. Like, y'all, social skill is very important, and take it from me, I spent 70% of the time when I was in school studying. I wouldn't say I have little social interactions. I have not enough of a social interactions, whereas I can be confident in public. Okay? So a takeaway for me is that sure, being smart is good. It's very good. Like I'm not taking the the power of a degree away at all. Like having a degree is always good. Like listen to me. Like the only reason that I quit is because I could not do it anymore. I couldn't do it mentally, physically. I couldn't do it financially. So that's why I quit. I am not encouraging in any type of way to actively quit college because a degree is important. Having said that, the social skills, I guess you could call it soft skills, question mark. Having social skills is also important because I guess you can call it the employer, the interviewer, the judge, whatever you want to call them. Not only will they look at your degree and your achievements and your accomplishments, they will also look at the realistic side of your life, which is like the life that you have outside of just being book smart or just studying or just achievement or just a degree. I've read so many cases that people have less good, like they have a degree not as good as the other person, but they have more, not even job related experience, like they have more of an experience of the real world than a smart person with zero, pretty much nothing in terms of real life experience. And that person got hired because they, like the real world doesn't require pretty much a 100 book to book, like all theorized experience from you. You know what I mean? Like if they needed that, they can just open a book. But they also, not only they need smart, but they also need a person and not just a book. If that doesn't make sense, I'm so sorry because even though I said I have notes, but I just made like some general viewpoints of things. Anyway, let me finish this eye real quick before we move on to the colors. I'm still dipping into licorice, by the way. And I'm packing it on. I'm leaving a little bit of color right here so I can put on some shimmers later. But I'm still packing the red on. And I'll go back to this brush I dipped into licorice earlier, actually. And blend out the lid just a tiny bit. Going in with the brush that I dipped into bubblegum without extra product, I'm blending it even more to give it a more, I guess you could say, subtle transition. Okay, so normally, like I said before, I do any look for my videos. I always do a test run, but today I'm going out of my way and I will be using my good old Makeup Revolution Soft Ultra Eyeshadow Palette. But as you can see, this palette has been put to good use. I always like burgundy reds, like dark burgundy reds, but I could never find that perfect shade. This palette, I exclusively use this burgundy red shade right here. And I'm using Packer Brush from Morphe. And I would dip into that and I would use this color and I would put it on my crease to define that crease. So I decided to change my course of action and I will be using the bigger packet brush I dipped into licorice earlier, and I will dip into this shade with the other side of the brush and I would dip into that shade and pack my whole lip with it because I am in love with this burgundy shade. Going into this fluffier brush from, I don't know, I will start blending the burgundy red shade onto the licorice and the bubblegum from the Jeffree Star so that there is no harsh line. Alright, she's looking blended. Now for the shimmer shade, I will actually be using my good old Juvia's Place, the Masquerade palette. And I will be using the shade Giza right here. This whitish shimmer. And I will pack it on these. I don't know if you can see it, but like I left this a little area right here. and I will pack it on that area. I'm not down to doing cut crease today because I have some errands I have to do later. Yeah, and I leave on Sunday. Today's Thursday, and I will be gone for a week. I will try to edit this video as fast as I can, as thorough as I can, but also not haphazardly, so I can put out good content for you guys. And there's also gonna be new videos to watch. Yes, ma'am. Juvia never fails to impress, honey. It feels so weird to not do cut crease, you know what I mean? And I can already tell that I'm putting Giza a little bit too far, so I'm gonna go in with that brush that I dipped into the burgundy shade from Soft Makeup Revolution and fix that. But let me just finish packing it on. Honestly, Juvia, if you need a sponsor, holla at your girl. Actually, I should do a full face of makeup with only Juvia. What do you guys think about that? Like, if y'all want to see it, like, put it in the comments below. I make no secret when I say that I adore Juvia because like of their color pigments, but I've never really done like a full face of Juvia in my videos. So if y'all want to see that, let me know. Now, going back to the brush, the packer brush that I dipped into the burgundy shade, and I will start adjusting the shimmer so that there is no crossing any border. I'm not down for Trump, y'all, I'm just saying. Actually, I got so mad when I read the news this morning that he's now acquitted. I'm like,
who in the hell with a right mind are defending him?
Oh wait.
The Republicans, okay.
She's looking pretty!
Pretty.
Going back to this blending brush, I will blend the color so there's no harsh line one more time. I'm actually not mad about this. Like, this is one of the few times on my channel where I just kind of like wing it and it looks good. Like, if you know the amount of footage I had to delete because I was trying to wing it. Oof. And if y'all are still judging me for using tape, I already made it clear that I'm not that talented. So, just give me a break here. Ooh, okay, queen. Going with the packer brush that I dipped in the burgundy shade, I'm going to just line my bottom eye. And I'm not adding any extra product into this brush either. I'm just putting it on as is and blend those colors together. Okay, so for liners, I'm using the good old Maybelline liner. It looks like this, you know how it is. And let me just line my eyes real quick. And a tip to line your eyes is that never watch my videos on how to line your eyes, because I just kind of like wing it, and it took a lot of fails to get to where I am now. So I may not be the best teacher in terms of teaching liners, so I'll just fast forward this. Yep, exactly. Well, a little thick at the end, but I'm not mad at it because when I put lashes on, it's still gonna be there. So let me just wait for it to dry. I put lashes on and I finish the other eye, and then we'll move on to the other talking point of today. So, be right back. So the eyes are done, minus that one little spot right here from the eyeliner, but let's not talk about that. Anyway, for complexion, I will be using the good old Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation, and this is the JS1 Morphe x Jeffree Star collaboration. And I'm just gonna start doing my face, and we'll continue on with the talking point of this video. Oh look, it's Miss Zazazellia. Basically, she lives with us now, y'all.
Remember to hydrate yourself, kids.
Spoken from an alcoholic.
With GMT.
Already?
Yeah, it's at 3:30.
Jesus, ma'am. So actually, while you were here, well, he's judging me, but while you're here, we are talking.
No, I'm leaving. No, we're talking about what?
Dicks? No, I'm kidding. Anyways, while we're here, we are talking on the topic of the things I wished my 18-year-old self would knew about the 20s.
Oh.
And we talked about like the Korea stuff, and now.
Plastic surgery.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Plastic surgery.
No. So we were talking about careers, and now we're talking about, I guess, the juicy topic that every 20s kid would like to, I'm taking this off for a while. Every 20 kids would like to know, um, relationships, love.
It's a broad topic.
No, I feel like in their 20s, like, especially our generation, like, we actively like go out of our way just to be called being in a relationship, you know what I mean? And they're not actually really ready for it. Like, I know some person, like, they can't just ever be alone. They always have to be
With someone.
in a relationship with someone else.
That's just some people mentality about it though.
Exactly. And
They are like afraid of being alone, or B, they just, I don't know, they just feel like they just need someone, or like they're just obsessed with something that's called relationship when they don't know what it is to actually be in a relationship.
And I also feel like because they don't know how to be alone, because they're not content with themselves most of the time, like, they can't be happy with themselves, so that's why they actually trying to find this. Like, I've had friends who were like, literally in 2 weeks she messaged me like, oh, I'm going out with 3 guys. I'm like, how does that work? Not going out, like, she said, like, I'm in a relationship with 3 different guys. I'm like,
I'm no one to judge.
yeah,
But-
yeah.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all done that. Like, my 21-year-old self would just kill to be where I am today, I think. And if I knew what I knew today, that wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. And like, in my opinion, I think that you should not be in a relationship when you're not ready. Sure, going out, going on dates, sure, whatever. But don't put that pressure of commitment onto yourself when you're not ready, because relationships are hard. Relationship is a lot of work. Like sure, I only been in love twice. What do I know? But from my relationship with my boyfriend, I realized that relationships are fucking hard, y'all. It's like a lot of work, a lot of commitment, a lot of compromisation,
Compromise.
a lot of compromise, and it's not
Is that even a word? Yeah, compromise. Compromising.
let's call it compromisation. I'm calling it that. Anyway, but
Okay. I don't even think it's a... Is it a word? Where the fuck is that from?
anyways, before I continue, I'm going in with the beauty sponge, and I'm just gonna go into my eyes area, the closer to my under eyes, like the corners of my eye, and get that foundation in there, because the brush wasn't doing it, and I'm getting anxiety because Zazazellia is sitting right here judging me. You have to put up a lot with stuff when you're in a relationship. I'm just so...
You have to know what you want before you can put yourself in a relationship. You have to understand yourself, like what you want, what you need,
and also if the other person wants the same thing.
And like in any relationship, you just need to know yourself. That's the most important thing, because sometimes relationship is not what you want to be in.
Yeah, you can apply that to yourself too.
God, no, I have fake attitudes and fake personalities. Jesus.
Too many.
Why do you think I have to drink just to keep up with some of them?
He's basically Karen from Will and Grace. I can tell from personal experience is that relationships, it's a lot of work. Like, you have to be willing to put down, you have to be willing to put in the work necessary to maintain that relationship, because I am so lucky that Ami and I, even though we're different in terms of what we like, what our interests are, and how we, I guess, look at life, but I'm really, really glad that we have the same way of thinking. So half the time we never really fight. We just, the one time we fight is mostly either about games or food, but I am very lucky that we have the same, I guess, mindset to mostly agree on stuff. Like we pretty much easygoing. I am grateful to have a boyfriend who not only is patient with all my BS, but also at the same time be willing to sit down and school me or be schooled about a certain subject. I guess what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, you have to be ready to put in the work to maintain that healthy relationship. You know what I mean? Like, sure, getting into a relationship, everybody can do that. And just say, you can meet someone at a bar and say, hey, let's be in a relationship for, you know, you can see each other like for a month or two and then just like, meh, this isn't working out. I don't call that as being in a relationship. You're just hanging out with someone at that point. So, like, if you're really, really ready to be in a relationship, you have to be ready to put in the work. That's what I'm saying. Alright, before we move on to our next talking point, I would like to interrupt you with our daily dose of baking. If y'all see my pores over here, the weather here is heavily polluted recently, and my skin, it's going through it. I'm sorry, like even a full coverage foundation can't conceal it. I guess I can use like a color corrector or something, but I only have the dark orange one, and I don't know if that works, so I just didn't put it in. Alright, now let's wait for a few minutes for my face to set, and we'll be right back. Okay, I am back now for blush. I will be using the Blush Neutrals from BH Cosmetic, and I will be dipping into, what shade am I feeling today? Okay, let's start with this shade right here. Actually, I will do a little mix of both of this and this color. On to the talking points of this video. I personally feel like the stress of falling in love in your 20s leads to, especially in my culture, right, in the Vietnamese culture. If you're Asian, you know what I'm talking about. So like I remember when I was still in school, I still remember I used to hear people talk about how you should be married by, like for boys it's like, for men it's like you should be married by the age of 27 the latest, and for the girls you should be married by the age of 25 the latest, because after that nobody's gonna want you anymore. And I feel like the pressure of rushing to be in a relationship comes from that, like comes from like the pressure of getting married early, and like, and I seriously don't understand why Asian parents do it, because like it's a lot for marriage. Like you, okay, you could be in a relationship for 5 years, 10 years, but do you really want to spend the rest of your life with your partner without, okay, so here's the silver lining for me. If you've been in a relationship for 5 years or 10 years, and you guys been living together, sure, fine, get married, go ahead. But I feel like if you've been in a relationship for 5 years or 10 years, for the same amount of time, but you haven't lived together, I feel like that's a whole other aspect, because a lot of things change when you start living together. I feel like that's when your true self comes out. Where am I going with this? Like, I want to say that you should not be in love and then get married to someone, well, let's just say when you're not ready, okay? You should, like, it doesn't matter if you're not getting married by 29 or 30. It really doesn't matter. Because your parents could say all they want, your friends could say all they want, the society could say all they want, but at the end of the day, are they gonna live your life for you? Are they gonna take care of your husbands or your wife and your kids for you? No. So, I feel like their opinion shouldn't matter because they aren't paying for your healthcare. Anyways, I'm just finishing this blush and I put on this highlight and we're done for this video. Y'all are wondering why am I highlighting my forehead, because I have such a wide forehead. Actually, I'm looking for tenants to rent the space on my forehead. So if y'all know anyone, let me know. But I don't know, I just like when the highlight over here matches each other. I don't know, is it my thing? I don't know, let me know. I found out that I have this pinky nude shade from Colourpop. The shade is called Calypso. So actually this is a really good nude-ish shade. Press, 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 press. I'm gonna be using the Dewy Set Setting Spray from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And girl, this thing smells so damn good. So let's set this face. Oh, it smells so good. To top up this look, I will be using the Fenty Beauty Gloss Balm in shade Diamond Milk. I like the shade, but personally I really don't like the consistency because it feels too thick. But I still like it, so let's put it on. And this look is complete. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I got a lot off my chest and it feels nice to be back in the studio, sitting down and playing with makeup again. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. My last video will be right here and the subscribe button will be right here. Yeah, and that's it for today's video. And remember, stay strong, fierce, and sassy. Bye guys!